Hunter, a young woman from a modest background, enters a life of luxury when she marries Richie, the heir to a wealthy family and future CEO of his father's company. With her new life, Hunter takes on the role of a housewife in an upscale home in upstate New York. Her days are filled with interior decorating, tending the garden, watching TV, scrolling through her phone, and preparing meals for Richie. At first, she feels fortunate to live in the beautiful house gifted by Richie's parents. But the excitement soon fades as she begins to feel increasingly isolated. The house is far from the city, and Richie is emotionally unavailable, rarely acknowledging her efforts or even paying attention when she speaks, often buried in his phone instead. One day, Hunter discovers she's pregnant. Richie is thrilled, but for Hunter, the news stirs anxiety. The idea of raising a child in a cold, distant marriage weighs heavily on her. Her unease deepens during a dinner with Richie's parents, Catherine and Michael. Although Richie encourages her to share a story, she's quickly interrupted as the conversation shifts to business. It's during this moment that she experiences an unusual compulsion. She picks up an ice cube from her glass and chews it, earning puzzled looks from everyone at the table. A few days later, while decorating the nursery, Hunter is startled when Catherine enters the house unannounced. She brings a self-help book that once helped her after giving birth to Richie. Catherine declines Hunter's offer to stay for lunch, instead suggesting she grow her hair longer to suit Richie's preferences. Intrigued by a piece of advice in the book to do something unexpected each day, Hunter reflects on the idea. Eventually, she decides to swallow a marble. Strangely, this act brings her a sense of personal triumph. That night, when Richie notices her cheerful mood, she tells him vaguely that she's proud of doing something different. Unable to admit the truth, she mentions changing the curtain color and asks for his opinion. Richie reassures her that she could never make a mistake. However, the next morning, when Richie discovers she accidentally ruined his silk tie while ironing it, he sharply criticizes her. After he leaves for work, Hunter goes to the bathroom and finds she has passed the marble. Wearing gloves, she retrieves it from the toilet, washes it, and places it on her vanity with pride. Later, while watching a documentary about motherhood, Hunter receives a call from Catherine inviting her over. During their conversation, they reminisce about jobs they held before marriage. Catherine questions whether Hunter is truly happy or just pretending. Though Hunter insists she's content, it's clear she's putting on a facade. One day, while vacuuming, Hunter notices the machine has picked up a thumbtack. She places it on the kitchen counter and stares at it thoughtfully. On impulse, she puts it in her mouth but quickly spits it out after it cuts her tongue. Examining the small injury in the mirror, she returns to the living room, where she finds herself drawn to the thumbtack once more, unable to shake the strange feeling it gives her. Unable to resist any longer, Hunter picks up the thumbtack again and this time swallows it. The pain as it goes down her throat is intense, but despite the discomfort, she feels a strange sense of pride. That night, after checking her baby bump, she's caught off guard when Richie unexpectedly shows up with a group of colleagues for a sudden celebration. As she changes into something more formal, she feels a sharp pain in her abdomen and rushes to the bathroom, where she passes the thumbtack along with some blood. In a panic, she quickly cleans everything up. When Richie comes to check on her, she pretends everything's fine. Though she's visibly shaken, Richie accepts her explanation. Heading downstairs to join the others, Hunter notices a bloodstain on her clothes and retreats to the kitchen to clean it. There, one of Richie's coworkers approaches her for a hug, saying he feels lonely. At first, she finds the request odd coming from a stranger, but ultimately agrees and finds comfort in the human contact she's been missing. As she continues decorating the house, Hunter begins engaging in a strange and secret habit, swallowing non-edible objects. Among them are pages from a self-help book, a small battery, a padlock, and even a figurine. Each time she retrieves one, she carefully cleans it and places it in her bedroom, treating the items like personal milestones. During her first sonogram appointment, the technician spots something abnormal in her abdomen. Hunter is quickly taken into emergency surgery, where doctors discover several foreign objects. She's diagnosed with pica, a psychological condition that causes individuals to ingest things that aren't meant to be eaten. Back at home, Richie is angry. He throws away the items she had saved and expresses frustration that she kept the issue a secret, though Hunter herself had no prior knowledge of the disorder. Richie and his father, Michael, take her to a psychiatrist and expect to join the conversation. However, the doctor insists on seeing Hunter alone. While Hunter wishes for a simple medication solution, the psychiatrist explains that real progress also involves understanding emotional roots. Hunter is reluctant to dig into her past, saying she had a happy childhood. She also mentions feeling drawn to the textures of the objects, especially metallic ones, and admits the discomfort involved doesn't really affect her. Later, Catherine visits with some cooking advice and reassures Hunter that what she's experiencing is a complex mind-body issue. To help her during the day, Catherine and Michael arrange for a live-in helper named Lou, a Syrian immigrant, to stay while Richie's at work. But Hunter doesn't feel supported. She feels suffocated. Lou sees her as fragile and takes over household tasks, often treating her condition as just a side effect of boredom. He even checks her clothes when she goes to the bathroom, suspecting she might be hiding things. What he doesn't realize is that Hunter already stashed a pouch of small metal objects behind the toilet, which she continues using in secret. During one therapy session, the psychiatrist grows increasingly concerned after learning she had ingested a battery and a needle, items that could be seriously dangerous. Hunter says it gave her a sense of control. Just as she begins to talk about her mother, she suddenly shuts down and leaves the session early. That evening, they host Richie's birthday party. Things take an uncomfortable turn when one of Richie's coworkers jokingly mentions stomach pumping, then awkwardly apologizes. This tips Hunter off. Richie has been telling people about her condition. Hurt and embarrassed, she confronts him outside. Richie dismisses her feelings and accuses her of trying to ruin his evening. Later that night, their intimacy takes an unexpected turn. Hunter takes charge in a more dominant way than usual. Richie ends up feeling confused and emotionally disconnected afterward. When he brings it up the next day, Hunter confronts him. She demands an apology for sharing her private struggles and asks him to reaffirm that he still cares about her unconditionally. At her next therapy session, Hunter finally reveals a painful truth. She explains that the man who raised her isn't her biological father. Her mother had become pregnant after a traumatic event involving a man named William Irwin. Despite this, her deeply religious mother chose to continue the pregnancy. Hunter shares that she's come to terms with her background, describing her stepfather as kind and her sisters as loving. The therapist gently suggests that this part of her history may be tied to her current struggles. Before she leaves, the therapist offers a comforting hug, one that Hunter willingly accepts. After that, Richie starts showing her more compassion. His warmer attitude helps her resist some of her compulsions. She even manages not to act on her urges while gardening. But the stability is short-lived. One day, Hunter overhears a private conversation between Richie and her therapist, and is shocked to learn that Richie had been secretly paying the doctor to monitor and report on her sessions. Devastated, she spirals into panic and hides under the bed, struggling to calm down. Louis finds her there but chooses not to force her out. Instead, he lies quietly beside her and offers a gentle hand on her shoulder, staying with her until she falls asleep. When Hunter wakes up and sees Louis still asleep, she quietly slips into the kitchen and searches for something small to consume. She finds a tiny screwdriver. Moments later, Louis discovers her choking and immediately calls emergency services for help. After another emergency surgery to remove the screwdriver, Richie and his parents decide to commit Hunter to a psychiatric facility until the baby is born. Hunter resists, but Michael threatens her with divorce if she refuses. Reluctantly, she signs the commitment papers. Catherine then asks her to leave her engagement ring in her care and also tries to take her phone, but Hunter refuses, saying she needs it for her games. Before leaving, Hunter returns to her room to retrieve her charger, and that's when Louis, feeling guilty, decides to help. Together, they devise a quick escape plan. Hunter climbs out through the window while Louis distracts the others by turning on the bathroom sink and closing the door, pretending she tricked him while asking to use the restroom. By the time the family notices she's missing, it's too late. Hunter has made it through the woods and reached the road, where she hitchhikes to a nearby motel. After settling in, she picks some dirt from a plant outside and hides it in her pocket. Inside the room, she calls Richie. She admits that although she did care for him, she rushed into the relationship and pregnancy just to please him. Richie tries to persuade her to come home, speaking softly at first, but when she refuses, he snaps, threatening her and hurling insults. Calmly, Hunter hangs up. To avoid being tracked, she destroys her phone. Then she sits in the room, watches TV, eats dirt, and eventually falls asleep. The next morning, she calls her mother, asking to come visit, explaining it's urgent. Her mother says she'd love to see her, but the house is full because Hunter's sister just had a baby. Disheartened, Hunter ends the call and hitchhikes again, this time to the suburban home of her biological father, William Irwin. She arrives during a birthday party and blends in with the crowd. After throwing up the dirt in the bathroom, she approaches Irwin and his wife, Lucy, who assumes Hunter is just one of their daughter's friends' mothers. Hunter offers to help clean up and uses the opportunity to quietly mention her mother's name. Irwin is visibly rattled, but quickly recovers, inventing a lie about recently bumping into Hunter's mom and inviting her to the party. Hunter plays along, saying her mother couldn't make it, so she came instead. Once Lucy leaves to tend to their child, Irwin asks if she's there to destroy his life. Hunter says she only wants answers. Irwin admits he assaulted her mother because it made him feel powerful, like a god. But prison humbled him. He was beaten so severely that he now wears a colostomy bag, a constant reminder that he is no god, just a deeply flawed man. Hunter asks if he's ashamed of her and wonders if being his daughter makes her just like him. Erwin assures her it doesn't. It wasn't her fault and she deserves no blame. For the first time, Hunter gets the closure she's been craving. Later, she visits a clinic and receives abortion medication. Sitting in the food court of a mall, she takes the pills. When the process begins, she goes into a public restroom to complete the termination. Emerging afterward, she pauses to look at herself in the mirror and smiles, feeling genuinely free for the first time.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.